The best of Money Matters. Right Business.
Welcome to The Right Business, where we dive deep into the stories of trailblazers who dare to disrupt the status quo, find the gap in the market to find the right business. Hello, I'm Hongbin Jeong. Now, event planning doesn't have to be just another checkbox on a to-do list. It should be the spark that brings teams closer and turns moments into memories. But too often, family, corporate, and other events end up feeling generic, disconnected, or just plain boring. Now, that's where Get Out events comes in. Get Out is shaking things up with tailored experiences, from epic dinner and dance celebrations and family-friendly fun days to team-building adventures and eye-catching FMCG activations. So to find out more about how they're crafting unforgettable experiences, joining us today is Felix Sim, who is the co-founder and managing director of Get Out Events. Hi, Felix. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Hongbin. Thanks for having me here.
Thank you so much for joining us. All right, Felix, Get Out Events was born out of a need to fill a gap in the corporate event space by creating experiences that really connect people and build company culture. What was that key gap you spotted that led you to start Get Out Events?
Well, the key gap, firstly, my background was never ever in events. I was previously in the corporate space. I was in finance. I moved back from Dubai after living there for 4 years. And I came back and I realized that there's just so much disconnect in the event space in Singapore. It's very old school. It's very boring. And I figured if somebody were to come into the industry and come up with something a little bit more creative, something that pushes, I suppose, the norms to the edge, there would be a market for it. And, 13 years and 3,000 events later, I guess I was proven right.
Wow, 3,000 events in 13 years. So you've created Get Out Events, which is a company that offers tailored events ranging from dinner and dance to team building and FMCG activations. Can you walk us through how you approach designing these experiences to ensure they truly resonate with each client?
So every event, before we start planning, we always ask the clients if, what their target is, or who their target market is, who's going to attend it. It could be their clients, it could be their partners, it could also be their employees. So we do all sorts of events for corporates. And once we've identified who the target audience is, we then identify what the stakeholders actually want. So basically, the bosses who approve the budgets, we need to know why they're approving this budget and what they're really looking for as an expected outcome. So only when we have these two things do we then start designing the entire flow of the event. We definitely do a lot of research. So we look around at what's not only happening in Singapore in the event space, but also what's happening around the world, especially in the US or around Asia, and try and incorporate a lot of these new ideas, or as much of these new ideas as possible, into our plans. It takes us a while actually to come up with an event plan or an event proposal. Sometimes it can take us up to 3 weeks or 4 weeks before we come up with a plan that is good enough to be presented to a client. So, a lot of people think that in the events business is a very easy one to do because it's literally just putting things together. But in reality, it's not that easy to do.
Okay, so what does a package typically include?
It would include all sorts. I think the first thing is it includes a team, a professional team who's able to sort of handhold you from the very start of your event concept, where the day that you decide that you want to run an event for your company. It starts from there, having a team of people that you can call and consult with, all the way to looking for an event venue, to everything else in between until the actual event day. So it's not just having someone, it's not just picking up the phone, calling someone and say, like a car workshop, right? I'm going to drop off my car, just fix it for me. It's not like that. It's really more of a calling like a concierge and saying, hey, I'm actually thinking of doing something like this. Could you sort of stay with me throughout the entire journey until the event is organized and the event is done? So it's a really hand-holding kind of process that we go through with all our clients. So that's why it takes actually a lot of time and effort to do.
Okay, and for families, you also have family day events, but it can be tricky since they involve all ages and family members. How do you design the event to be more inclusive, fun, and memorable for everyone involved?
Family day events are a lot more informal, so it gives us a lot more opportunity to be creative in what we offer the client at the event. For example, we would offer, usually in a family day event, some activities that are a little bit more taxing, a little bit more active, like let's say, better example, but like a tally match, for instance. That would be one part of a family day event. Other parts of the events would have maybe workshops where maybe the younger kids or the older family members can sort of participate and bond bond together over. And then there's things in between. There would be obviously food and drinks and carnival games, giant inflatables, which we are very proud of as well. So it's a more generic make. So we try and include more things so that it suits different types of audience and attendees.
Now, you have team building events as well. What kind of activities do you offer here that really help teams bond and communicate better? And does it involve outdoor activities as well?
It does involve outdoor activities, but the trend over the last, I'd say, 5 years is I think clients are becoming a little bit smarter now. They would prefer to run team building events indoors. We would prefer to run it indoors as well because, again, less hassle, you're not affected by weather.
Hot. Yeah.
But it's not just the heat. It's if it's hot, you can still run it. But when it rains and it pours, then how do you do rain checks? How do you cancel the event or not? Then it just becomes very volatile. So organizing it internally is something that clients definitely prefer nowadays. In fact, in the last couple of months, we've had tons of requests for AI-driven team building programs. So instead of team building programs that's run by actual facilitators. So we have an in-house tech team of 5 engineers. So we create these team building, AI-driven team building software or apps that our clients participate in. So they feel like they're chatting or they're challenged by a facilitator, which was something that we used to do in the past. But actually right now they're chatting with an AI model that we've designed internally that starts giving them tons of different challenges. It sometimes changes the rules of the game a little bit to simulate real life and to give them a better experience. So AI is something that's pretty big now in team building.
Wow, I didn't imagine AI being integrated into events planning as well. Now, switching gears to FMCG activations and on-ground campaigns, how does Get Out events help brands stand out and create memorable experiences for their customers?
FMCG is an interesting space that we have just very recently got into in the last few months or so. It is a space where we really work with FMCG brands, whether they are in the household goods or they're in, let's say, seafood distribution, these kind of products. So we help them really get their brand out, get their name out, to reach more consumers, to reach more customers. We do so via pop-up activations in supermarkets, for example. If they are in a supermarket chain, we would put together activation concepts, and help them get more visibility within these spaces that their products are in. We also work with them to do roadshows outside of supermarkets, again, to help them reach a more general market. We also bring in celebrity chefs, like in September, we're bringing in Chef Martin Yan can cook, so can you, to Singapore. And we will be creating campaigns for our clients together with Chef Yan also. So we do a lot of different types of activations just to help get their word out, get their brand out to their consumers.
Well, Felix, I want to know to get to know you personally as well. I mean, Father's Day is coming up, and being both a dad and a businessman can be incredibly demanding. Tell us more about your journey as a father, especially during those early days when you and Stacey were rebuilding both your marriage and the business. What were some of the turning points for you in learning how to show up fully at home and at work?
Building anything is tough. Building a marriage is definitely tough. Building a business for sure as well. Fortunately or unfortunately, I've decided to build both at the same time. So it was tough. Yes, at the early stage, when we first got married and we've actually had our first kid, Riley, our marriage was really, really in a bad place. And the reason mainly was because we had a different way of approaching the same problem. And the way we got out of it really was to finally identify that we're both very strong individuals. But at the same time, whilst we do have a different view in how problems can be solved, we acknowledge that the problems are actually the same ones. We acknowledge that the destination we want to get to is actually a shared goal. So instead of sort of fighting against each other to get what we want, we decided that the best way to move forward was actually to collaborate with each other and fight against the world outside, as opposed to fighting internally amongst ourselves, for Stacey and I. And that was how really saved our marriage at that point in time, and so grow it to become something that is, we like to believe, is very strong today. We do the same approach is what we use for our business as well. So again, a lot of people tend to ask us, how does a husband and wife team sort of work together in a business, right? Like when you turn up, and assuming that you were in an argument last night, how do you turn up to the office the next day? Same thing. We look at the problems that's there. If there are problems that needs to be solved, we ask ourselves the question if we're still really moving towards the same direction, the same destination, and we are. So at the end of the day, it's really just making sure that the basis is the same, the destination, the goal is the same, and then appreciating that we have our different ways of solving problems and just moving ahead. So that's how we do it.
That's great. And what would you like to say to other dads out there who are in the same boat, trying to build something meaningful while also being present at home?
I think a lot of dads, for myself, for sure, we feel the pressure of having to take responsibility for many, many things, whether it is for our job or for our family or for our relationship or all three at the same time. And I think dads should really learn how to, or at least appreciate themselves a little bit more, take care of themselves a little bit more, because if we are not able to, for example, be physically strong, be mentally strong, be emotionally strong, it is impossible for us to take on all these responsibilities and take care of others, because we tend to really put ourselves in a position where we're responsible for everything, good and bad, mostly bad. So in order for us to take on the responsibility, I've learned over the last few years that by taking care of yourself or myself, by giving myself time, for example, I give myself a couple of days, a month to golf and do nothing, and just take time off for myself. And that helps me recharge. That helps me become stronger mentally, stronger more emotionally, in order to take on the rest of the responsibilities that I have in my life.
All right. And before we let you go here, Felix, looking to the future, what new initiatives or innovations are you excited about Get Out Events, or what's next for Get Out Events?
Well, for Get Out, we are focused a lot on building up a very strong MICE team. So we are doubling down on events in the incentives and the conference space. We're talking to many, many brands, many MNCs that have regional presence as well. So we're growing into this space. We are also going to expand our services to regional countries in Singapore. That's going to be a lot more work that we need to do for sure. It's a bigger challenge, but we have clients who have asked us to move there, and we're definitely very excited to be able to support them.
Amazing, and happy Father's Day to you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me. We've been speaking to Felix Sim, who is the co-founder and managing director of Get Out Events. This has been The Right Business with me, Hongbin Jeong.
To listen to more great interviews, download our podcasts at audio.sg or download the audio app. That's AWEDIO, audio at the App Store and Google Play.